Good morning, peoples. Bruce with Targeted Wealth Creation back at you for Group C actuals. I'll leave my estimates on here and update you on the actuals. All right, let's start with Cony. Well, I had Cony paying the lowest it's ever paid. The price is probably as lowest it's ever been, but it doesn't go back to, well, yeah, go back to September. $1.08, $2, $1.33, 83, $1.04, 59, 43, 65, 73, 53, 79, and now a whopping 34 cents. 63.22 yield, but it really doesn't. I mean, this stock, which was one of the three stocks that gave you house money back, right? If you bought this at $20 and held it ever since, you got your money back. Misty set the record, I think, at 8.3 months. Cony was 12 to 13 months. NVIDIA was about 15. Now, it happened sooner for NVIDIA calendar wise, right? The actual time that it did it, but I'm talking about months of selling, right? So in its 12th or 13th month, Cony hit it, and its 8.4 month, Misty hit it, and NVIDIA took like 15 months. And those are the only three, guys, that you've gotten your money back. And only if you held it all that time. So now you're writing free, but you're not writing free with $1 or $2, right? And look at Misty. You're no longer getting, well, you're getting somewhat, you're getting $1 payouts, but they can't sustain that, not with the price it's at. Not unless something changes, guys. All right. Fiat. Now, Fiat surprised me. Look at this. 101.51. I didn't see it anywhere where their earnings really showed it. They actually, well, this moved up since I showed it last Friday when I did it over the weekend. Now with 2 trading days, it's up even more. This is what it was last month. So that part is good for Fiat. Clearly, with Cony going down, Fiat's going up. So what did it pay? And what is Fiat's price? 344. Cony's price is 707. So they must have paid pretty good. Whoops. They, in fact, did. Yield wise, 101%. I mean, you're talking about a 344. Guys get excited, with 10 cents on Ulti, 9.5 cents. So you get somewhere between 36 and 40 cents a month, right? In Ulti. I realized that technically it's 4.3 payments, a month. On a $6 stock, but now that stock is down. The market's starting to have its impact, guys. All right, 101. That is the winner for the highest yield. All right, Msfo. I had 38 cents. What did it pay? 32 cents. 31.77. A paltry little 23.24. Well, look at the IV. This was just about Cony's IV, 64 and 63.22. Doesn't feel like it when you get 34 cents, but remember it's $7 now. Amdy. All right, what did Amdy pay? Amdy paid, I had 58 cents. They paid 54.5 cents. 83% yield. All right, guys. Moving along. Netflixy. Who owns Netflixy? All right, well, we're going to find out. I had 42.5. It paid 46.5. So far I'm not, well, this one I only had 20 cents, right? But look at where I went. I went from 13 up to 20 It had been 15, 13. Um, so they're hard, guys. You do the best you can do. So Nfly 46 is only a 35% yield. All right, ABNY, Airbnb as an underline. At 35, they only paid 30, close enough to at 0.2972. Again, 36% yield. And they were down, so I was trying to be somewhat generous for it. But look at this. This is setting record low. This is not a record low. I should have been looking at that. This is a record low here for ABNY. All right, PP. Let's see what PP wants to do. 34. Good on you, PP. You're getting up close to your IV. You hit 38. I didn't see it. I didn't see it in the numbers. Look at the price change. It was down 10.27% from the previous month. It had paid 27.32, 55, 55, some 30. So, all right. You got good money, Mr. PP. Carvani. All right. So I was a little high on Carvani. They were 391, $3, 260, four and a half, $1.70, $2. They had good money, okay, on the books. I think this was 250, 260. Yeah, 255. So decent payment, 80% yield, third highest payment percentage so far. Carvani. Whoops. Oh, guys, that was Carvani. My apology, right? I read PP and then we were doing Carvani. I had 3.1 and all those numbers I read you and they paid 255. All right. Alti, are they going to pay us 9 cents or are they going to pay us 10 cents? All right, guys, a weekly payer. Stock price is down 573. I lean toward nines. Well, I was leaning the wrong way. They hung on and paid us 10 cents. I'll take it. I own some. But, like I said, if the market turns down, Cony is not immune at all to NAV erosion. The last 3 months of being stable is generally sideways and then a big up market. So, it may start its NAV erosion again. But a lot of things will, frankly, if the markets keep selling off. All right, let's take a look at YIELDMAX. The all everything fund, not 1622. At 18, they paid 1622. All right, YMAG. Another heartbreaker, right? I've got 20 cents. It's more like June's payment of 15, but slightly lower than that. 1486. They only paid 75% of what I thought. 3/4. All right. R. Diddy. Oh, by the way, guys, so I hadn't done this in a while. My earlier video is on Roundhill and all of their index funds. Their R Diddy, their S Diddy, their Q Diddy. And what I did was go out and then rate them all, compare them all over the same time frame with many other index funds, like 8 to 9 to 10 in some of the categories. The Spider one had at least 10 entries. So I think you'll find those results interesting, guys. Really a deep dive on the comparative analysis. All right, R. Diddy continues to pay well, guys. Look at this. Paid almost 40 cents when it only paid 20 and then 35, 46. 30. But remember, these stocks they all started up at that $50 mark. So they need to be paying to be competitive. All right, let's see. Well, our Diddy did pretty good. Back to that 39 marker. I was off. Again, 3/4. I was about 75% correct, which means I was 25% wrong. All right. Let's take a look at lethargy. I had 46. Could they get there? I think no. 41. I don't, that surprises me. I had 46. I would have sworn I had like 43, 44 because I knew they were going to come down off these numbers. Almost all the numbers. They haven't, well, they have, this is the lowest on record here, but not, but close. It was a 41.89. Here they are at 41.27. All right, Caputi. I think Caputi's always around that 29 to 32 cents. So this was no different. I had 31 and a half and they paid 31, 30.77. So no real surprises or shocks there. This is the one that can get ugly. 11, 16, their S&P can get into the 30s, the 20s. There's a 17, a 19, a 22. I think they dropped below 20, guys, if my memory serves me. Yeah, 17 cents, 16.81 with a paltry 1937 yield. That's a $45 ETF. Yeah, I know it's weekly. So that's like 70, 80 cents, but it's still ugly, in my opinion. Q Diddy! What did the Qs do? Well, they should be around 20 cents minimum. Let's see. Did they drop below that? I don't think so. Yeah, 19, but they were right at it. 22.36. All right, Chippy. Chippy continues to chip away. What's Chippy going to give us? 39.93. You can't get any closer to 40 than that. Well, 4 decimal places, you could go to a 9, right? But you know what I mean. All right, Hooey, I had $6. What have they paid in 3 months? $3, $6.50, and $6.9. Do you remember, guys, on not closed, the value of their synthetic, not closed, not sold, so they got the cash in hand, was $27 per share. At least 21. I could it could have been 20.7, but it was 20 plus dollars. So I said, yeah, they'll pay. They're not going to pay 10. They're not going to pay half of it because part of it could go away. But they're going to pay $6. Well, boy, was I wrong. IV 67.70. So that I should have just said they're going to pay the IV, but with that big amount of money, but I've been hurt by that before. They really don't have to pay that. 385, guys. I mean, it's only $2.26 away, but still, that's a big miss in my opinion. All right, so let's see what DraftKings, Dre's first payment. First payments, they tend to pay pretty well. I think I was a little higher than what they paid. What they paid, 240? No, 219. All right, guys, that's what I got for you. Let me read them back. Look at, I had $14 and they paid $11. Down quite a bit. Not the lowest, but you got to remember, they now have DraftKings in here, which was $2. So take DraftKings out. This was not barely $9. And so the lowest had been 10.8. And then you can't even compare when it was 9.7 over here because there's no Hooy, and Hooy has had the lowest it ever paid was $3. So these payments are drifting. These companies are struggling, and the market, in my opinion, is starting to struggle. Like I said, I think one thing is a savior, and it's got to be perfect. It's got to be massive. They got to guide well, and that's NVIDIA's earnings on the 27th. Otherwise, I think the euphoria is over for a little bit. I'm not talking a 29 crash, guys. I'm just talking about a good old healthy butt whipping, right? Dragging down 5%, 10%, 15%, 20%. It's just ugly enough to shake you guys that I've warned about margin right out of your positions. Okay. Not the average margin guy, the aggressive margin guy, the inexperienced guy. Buy the dip, buy the dip. Well, We may have another buy the dip scenario. I'm not so sure. I'll sure in the hell buy the dip in precious metals and miners should they get taken down, and they will initially. All right, guys, that's what I got for you. Bruce with Targeted Wealth Creation. I'm not a financial advisor, and this is not financial advice. Hope you enjoyed the income declaration updates, guys, and you're going to make a lot of money. Bye for now.